so I can show you some great snippets. So let's just jump over here and get this started.
What say you, Congressman, about what's happening with Netflix right now? It's quite a interesting cancellation campaign being run by Elon Musk. And I think for good reason, because this is a totally morally indefensible, what require a little bit of oversight from Congress, because you can't be doing this. I mean, you can't show pornography to kids. Obviously, there are a lot of laws against this kind of stuff. And I think that there should, quite frankly, be some penalties when it comes to companies that are overtly putting sexually explicit content into children's programming for the purpose of having the kids absorb it when the parents aren't watching, right? The way Netflix works is it's just autoplay, right? And a lot of parents, they got to do their taxes. They put their kids down on the couch and they just let it go. And Netflix knows exactly what they're doing. There's a definition of propaganda, and it's also the definition of a sexual exploitation.
I don't think it's right for these cartoons to be showing a kid who is they're trying to transition, who's a little boy, into a little girl. We got to stay in this fight. This fire that Charlie Kirk lit in this country, we've got to ignite it, and we've got to keep pushing.
It's interesting that you brought Charlie there, because he's always about culture war victories, and it was constant every single conversation that we had at Turning Point USA. I worked with him for 10 years. It was about culture war victories. I don't know if you have a Netflix. I doubt it. But do you think that perhaps, I mean, you do have a pretty high position in Congress, meaning a lot of people listen to you. You have a lot of followers. You get a lot of love. Would you be in favor of the Netflix leadership being asked to sort of testify over this radical sexual ideology?
Every time we're on, I always say I'm going to do something that makes news. Here's what I want to do on this one, because the First Amendment and all that is involved in it, of course. Let's get on it. I'm going to follow up with my folks after we get off. I'm going to call them and say, which committee can they be brought in front of? Is it who? I think what we have to look at, who regulates the FCC, and then since it's cable, does that count? I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but yeah, they need to be brought in. We need to find out what their agenda is and why they're pushing this stuff. Because from what I understand, that little cartoon is apparently the #1 rated cartoon they have on their show. I haven't seen it. It's kind of like claymation or something. I'm not really sure. But that right there is recruiting. That is grooming. That is the worst of the worst, because they're taking young minds and they know they can do that. And there's some kind of evil, demonic thing going on in this country with this transgender thing. We can't allow it.
The president is unhinged. He is unwell. What are you doing? A lot of folks on your side are too. I don't control. Oh my God, please. That performance in front of the generals, that I didn't see it. Is so dangerous. You know I serve on Foreign Affairs and Appropriations. This is a collision of those two things. Our allies are looking elsewhere. Our enemies are laughing. I just left. You have a president who is unwell. The president is unhinged.
I saw a message on X someone sent me, and they said, please let everyone know that some of these criminals are going out into the suburbs. They know that you guys are coming to Memphis and they're running out to the suburbs. How do we handle that?
That's an easy message. You can't hide. You can run, but you can't hide. We're coming after you. We're going to find you. Get ready. You're going to prison.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. God bless. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Democrats insist our bill does not provide federal dollars for health care for illegal immigrants. And you say what?
I say they obviously have not read their bill. This counter proposal that he filed, everybody can Google it, go pull it up. It's on the Senate's website and in the legislative text. Go to page 57 of Chuck Schumer's bill and look at section 2141. It says right there in plain language they want to repeal the health provisions of the One Big Beautiful Bill.
I do part ways with you here on this idea of plain language.
Oh, well, okay.
I read that whole section. It might as well be written in Mandarin.
And that's probably why the Democrats don't understand what they filed. But if you interpret that and you get through all the subsections, what you realize is they're trying to take out in its entirety the reforms that we put into the Big Beautiful Bill pertaining to health.
The Democrats insist our bill does not provide federal dollars for health care for illegal immigrants.
Illegal immigrants should not be getting access to the Affordable Care Act marketplace.
100%, Senator. But what I'm saying is that members of your party are making
Well,
this
I
an
can't
issue.
speak for members of my party, and I don't think you're right. I think you're making it an issue. Vice President Vance is making it an issue, but I haven't heard anybody in my party saying that illegal immigrants should get access to the health insurance market.
It's always
I'm so
everybody
glad
else.
you said that. Actually, I have some tape of your Democratic Party members saying this on the debate stage. So they've all said it. Let's play the clip.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Senator, that's literally every member of your party, from moderate to more progressive, that have said that in the past. I've seen them all on the table.
I beg to disagree with you. I have not said that in the past. Illegal immigrants should not be getting.
What you are about to hear from the Democrats is not true.
The Republican partisan spending bill that they introduced is not clean. Well, first of all, let's be clear. It's not a clean bill. It's a dirty bill. Well, that's all a lie. It's not a clean continuing resolution.
Listen, I like Hakeem Jeffries. I think he's got an amazing future. He's got better fights than this. This is a clean CR. What does that mean, by the way? Continuing resolution. Instead of passing a real budget like they should, this just says, hey, remember the last one? Let's just continue at those levels again, all right? Now, that may mean that certain people who should get less won't, certain people who need more won't, but a clean CR means that this is an extension from the last set of, in this case, Biden's spending levels, okay? That's what a clean CR is. This is a clean CR. But you are...
Okay, there we go, folks. Amazing stuff. Okay, let me just go ahead and jump over here to Murtek on Rumble. Here's our Rumble channel. This is the video that you're watching right now, my live stream episode 1703. Let me click in here and pause right now. Okay, let me close out the live chat and slide down here. Click the Show More button. We have more information from ACLJ, Sekulow, Doug in Exile, Vince Dow, and X22 report. But before we get into that, let me give a shout out here to Aline Campbell 1, just started following my channel. R. Brewbuilt just started following my channel. Cisco 2620 just started following my channel. Rox N. Kahan, Rox Neem Kahan, just started following my channel. Real Kim Homa just started following my channel. DJ Torito MC just started following my channel. And Mary Gark 45 just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in tonight, and I hope you enjoy the content. Okay, we got Debbie BS reposted my episode 1702 from last night. Foxy Grandma and Debbie BS commented on my episode 1702. Debbie BS commented on my extra video 487A and 487B and 487C. So thank you very much for your comments and reposting my video. I greatly appreciate that. So let's go ahead and give this a thumbs up. All right, well, let's get into this. We've got some great stuff tonight. ACLJ, American Center for Law and Justice, Sekulow, Inside Scoop, Government Shutdown Drama. All right, well, let's see what they have to say about this. And
look, there's no good to this. No one wants a government shutdown, but we are going to break down what it actually means, how it's going to affect your daily life. There are some things, depending on your job. Obviously, if you work for the government, there will be things that do get affected. Public parks, public museums, a lot of those in Washington, D.C., many of those will be shut down as of today. Those are the kind of things that start happening as the government has to figure out how to get back to work after they failed to pass a spending bill. And this spending bill, by the way, and this is what it says on September 19th, I'll read it for you. The House passed a short-term continuing resolution extending existing spending levels for government operations until November 21st, my 40th birthday. So you know what? Happy birthday to me. I get to celebrate, a government shutdown. That's great. House Republicans adjourned and leadership in town. They called them back into session in 48 hours. There's a lot of different things this will go through, including what they wanted. What the Democrats wanted. They wanted things like restricting executive authority. They're upset after Doge. They are upset about the big, beautiful bill. And of course, the restrictions on Planned Parenthood. All the things that you would fully expect them to be mad about. Of course, they are.
Nothing new in this legislation. There's no poison pill. There's no partisan tricks. There's no gimmicks whatsoever. The only difference today is the man who is sitting in the Oval Office. Rather than work with President Trump and Republicans to get this job done, as our party has done repeatedly in the same situation over the years, Democrats want to play political games with the lives and the livelihoods of Americans. The simple truth is Democrats in Congress have dragged our country into another reckless shutdown to satisfy their far-left base. That is the truth. Whether or not the government remains open or reopens is entirely up to them. There's still time for Democrats to pass this clean bipartisan bill that's sitting before them, and we encourage our Democrat colleagues to do that. I certainly pray they'll come to their senses soon, do the right and responsible thing.
It's there to hurt President Trump. It's there to hurt the Trump administration. So let's not sit here and pretend it's nothing, but it's certainly not the doom and gloom in times of which they say.
Right. It's all about who gets the blame at the end of the day, right? So the left, I think, is so low at this point. And Chuck Schumer and the Hakeem Jeffries have been, by the leftists like AOC and kind of who's winning the primaries in the upcoming midterms are being pushed out and are clearly not identifying with the people who are still that 30% of Democrats giving money, right? Mm-hmm. So they thought they had to make a stand here and that they could still blame the Republicans. The issue is they've already lost 3 in the Senate. So I think they needed 10 total. They're going to keep having these votes. Now, when this gets tougher, I'd say, is after a week.
They have what service and programs continue during government shutdown. As you said, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid payments will all continue. Most veterans programs will continue. Air traffic control and TSA will continue. So again, if you're flying out, don't worry. There's still that option. Federal law enforcement and border patrol. Military personnel will stay on duty. Student aid for higher education. The Postal Service, the stuff that at least it's funded by postage, it says. In fact, approximately 23% of federal employees will be furloughed, while 77% will continue to work.
Right, because they're considered essential.
No, that's still a 20. There's nothing to laugh at. 23%.
A lot of people, but for instance, different federal agencies have different budgets for these moments. So federal courts, and I was just confirming this for everybody because this one is one you could see is either going to wrap up fast, or because the Dems are looking for anything. It's going into the midterms.
Anything to put the pain to them.
Even to try to prove, not just to Republicans, but I'm talking about some of these guys who are up for their own issues with primaries and things like that, that they should still be in charge, the current Democrat leadership. So I get a little nervous with that. It's how long they can keep the 5 or 6 or 7 more moderates they need to from breaking. This is not, these Democrats would not be voting to say, I agree with everything in here. It's a continuing resolution to then have this debate longer. I don't like that government has to work this way, and it shouldn't come to this. But you do need to know where the blame lies. And on this, Republicans were not trying to do anything like drastic. It was to keep things exactly as they are.
Yeah.
So it just meant no new funding. The Democrats wanted another like $1 trillion of spending.
I think it was $500 billion or something like that. I get the exact
basically
number
want to restore everything that they lost in the last budget battle,
in the big beautiful bill, and in the Doge cuts and all that. And of course, what they really wanted was Planned Parenthood to be back funded. All of those things that are the what will maybe win them some votes. Yeah, the Democrats put forward their own funding bill, which would increase spending from 1 to 1.5 trillion in exchange for 1 month of continued funding. Is that right? 1.5 trillion? That's pretty wild.
They're just playing politics.
It's politics.
And they're going to try to go out there and say, see, they're going to let your grandmother suffer because she's not going to get the medication. None of that is true. If you hear anything like that, I believe it's harder for them to tell that story now too, because regular left-leaning mainstream media doesn't control the info, the sources. It's not that people like this, though.
Panicking.
Let me tell you something.
It's not good. No.
From most people, other than the trash piling up in places, that affects federal employees.
Barely going to feel it.
Right.
For now.
Really actually think about after this ends, did you feel any difference?
Well, that's why I said most people don't even realize they've probably lived through many of these.
And
they're just now politically attuned. They're now just watching the news and paying attention. They likely went through the one in 2018.
Yes.
I mean, if you're an adult now, there's a good chance you're an adult or a teenager at the youngest then, if you're listening to this show.
When you're the party who actually has caused this, you can't just blame the majority party when it takes at least 10 of your people to keep the government going, and you're the reason why. And so there's enough of us telling this story today. And what, like Logan said, make it clear. Take that list, post it to your social media. Make sure you know it when your friends reach out to you. Because if you're watching or participating in this show, podcast, however you do it, over the air, watching the broadcast, watching YouTube later, you're the kind of person that people are going to come to because they know that you actually pay attention to this kind of information.
Yeah, even though my friends who's on our side say, hey, give me the information I can now send to my friends because they're panicking and I know you're going to tell me the truth here. So send it to me. So yeah, make sure you do that. Follow this show, follow all our pages, and maybe we can even post that list somewhere. Post this.
Yeah, there's
our
some
team
things that I don't like.
I don't know. It's not good.
Your trip to Washington, D.C. stinks if you can't go to the museums.
You can't go to the Smithsonian.
Yes, but usually this is resolved. Republicans will give the Democrats a chance to resolve this today, tomorrow, and I would imagine it's either solved by the weekend or we might have prepared for something longer. We're starting to do it in our office. We've got things coming up and we have a date in mind that if the shutdown is continued to that date, things that we had planned, we're going to move to the next month. So again, we're affected by it to that extent, but our attorneys are still in federal court. So those courts are running. It's just kind of like the Postal Service. They have their own budgets and their own kind of rainy day funds. So unless you get historically, we've never seen one. What was the longest you said? We've already been through it recently.
Oh, it's the last one was 35-day closure in 2018.
You have to get really into this deeply to where you.
And just let me remind you, folks, what that was about 35 days, 31 days, whatever it was. The Democrats did not work with Donald Trump. And all he wanted was $5 billion for the border wall. That's all he wanted, $5 billion. They're wanting $1.5 trillion so that they can have Medicare and I'm assuming also housing, free phones, free food for the illegals that Donald Trump was trying to stop from coming in with the $5 billion. So no, we're not going to spend $5 billion, but we're happy to spend $1.5 trillion to take care of these illegals that we allow to come in so that they can vote for us, okay? So we can cheat in elections. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Your tone changed. You say this is out of control. We're not even close to that point. In fact, the government today is still working because they have to be there to shut it down. So as they put out, by OMB put out, everybody has to report to duty tomorrow to actually put the shutdown policies into place.
Okay, there you go. Let me click on the Rumble link. Man, these Democrats are such frickin' liars. I can't believe it. I can't believe people actually believe their lies. Okay, this video does come from American Center for Law and Justice. I am following the channel. I've given them a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, just the kind of inside story there from ACLJ. Let's see what Doug in Exile has to say. Breaking, Dershowitz leaves Democrat Party. All righty then. Let me go ahead and share the screen here. There we go.
I intend to document the Democrat Party is in ruin, and I intend to document every second of their demise, their ruination, with as many shows as I possibly can. This is one of my goals of this channel, is to destroy the Democrat Party so that no one in polite conversation would ever think of voting for them again. Because it saves Americans' lives, it'll save the country, probably even save the world if America has any kind of leadership in that future role. We will not have a leadership role in the future if we continue to elect Democrats. That party needs to go away. This is not necessarily a pro-Republican thing, although I'm a Republican just by default of it does more damage to the Democrat Party. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the Happy Patriots are. Hope you'll let me make my case, but I don't really need to make my case right now because Alan Dershowitz, Democrat, has left the party. He's going to make my case for me. Alan Dershowitz.
I'm going to be supporting the Republicans in the midterm election. I'm hoping that the Republicans maintain control both of the House and the Senate. The last thing I want is Chuck Schumer to be head of the Senate, or Liz Warren to be chairperson of a committee, or AOC to be chairperson of a committee. The Democrats have not only lost my votes, but they have made me an enemy.
They have made Alan Dershowitz a Jew, a Jewish constitutional scholar. Let's get him on this phase. This is a constitutional scholar, a great legal mind, who, how bad is the Democrat Party? He finally bailed on him. He's voting for all Republicans. By the way, there's a word for not voting for Democrats, Alan, and only voting for Republicans. It's called being a Republican. If you really want to damage them, do the one thing that they do not want you to do. I just want to tell you, the Democrat Party, number one, they want you to be a Democrat, and you left the Democrat Party. Number two, if you're going to vote for them and you're going to vote for, if you're going to vote for Republicans and not vote for a Democrat, they at least don't want you to become a Republican. So they're going, fine, you have to vote for a Republican. Just don't become a Republican. So that should cue you on what the next step is. And I believe that you will get there. I believe you're on the path to recovery. It's a long path. It was a cult. We're extracting you out. This is your intervention where the family comes around you and goes, Alan, remember how you have given all of that money to the Democrat Party? How you have invested your life into defending them and attacking Republicans? Well, this is the fruits. Now you have supported an anti-Israel country, a formal anti-Israel political party. And now you're going, well, here I am at the end of my life, at the end of my career, after I've done all this stuff to weaken the Republican Party and strengthen the Democrat Party. And holy cow, I've been helping Satan.
Essentially, by how they've moved away from American values, Israeli values, and values of decency. So I'm not only no longer a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, but I'm...
Oh, heaven forbid, be a Republican. That's not a good point, Alan. That's not a benefit. I'm not a Democrat. Well, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not a Republican. I'm not for America. I'm not for the patriot. I'm still not here to advocate for and vote for truckers, coal miners, steel workers, moms, intact families, children, protecting children. I'm still not in that party. I'm not strong enough to join that. I'm just saying I'm not a Democrat. Basically, he's just saying, look, I'm not sane. I'm just not a psycho anymore.
Very anti-Democrat. I'm against the Democratic
Good. That's a good first step.
Party. I will do anything to see Mom Donnie defeated.
He'll see anything to see Mom Donnie in New York is what crossed the line. Democrats had to put a communist has to be winning in the Democrat Party in New York before he sees the light. Some of us knew the Democrats were dangerous and psychotic. I figured it out in 1984 when I started voting for Ronald Reagan because I was a pro-lifer. I figured it out a long time ago. I think Alan Dershowitz has a much higher IQ than me, so I expect a little more from
I figured it out in 1972 when I voted for Richard Nixon.
you, but maybe because he was a Democrat, maybe the rot's deeper than I thought. Here's Dinesh D'Souza with an Islamist. The reason why Muslims vote Democrat. This is more education for Alan Dershowitz.
Find one Islamic extremist that votes for Donald Trump. Never do it. When I was an extremist, Islamist, fundamentalist, I would only vote left.
He only votes left. You will never find an Islamic extremist, a radical, who want the destruction of Israel. You will never find them voting for Donald Trump. This is probably news to Jews like Alan Dershowitz, but it's not news to me because I've listened to them and watched them vote. They vote for leftists. How do you explain that? Why is it that an Islamist who believes in throwing homosexuals off the roof of a building will support Democrats, the Rainbow Party?
Why is that? I saw them as very stupid. I would fear the conservatives because they come with principle. That's not someone they can brainwash. But the left, I know they have no values and no principles to begin with.
I love it. Look at this Muslim destroying the Democrat Party. I'll vote for them because I know they don't have principles. Republicans, they have principles. Alan Dershowitz, do you have principles? Do you have principles? Come join the principled party.
I dare you to find one Islamic extremist that votes for Donald Trump. Never do it. They give their vote to the leftist who wants to run around in pride parades. And Islamic extremists are against gays and homosexuals and transgenders, but they want the left to go and get busy with that. They want them, go speak about the climate. Go speak about...
Go do your climate change, Democrats. The Islamist wants the Democrats to go off in their pride parade and their global warming ideology. Why?
Abortion, go kill yourselves. Go do that.
Go kill yourselves. He wants them to destroy themselves.
And Omar, she's fighting for abortion rights and all the other, my body, my choice. Yes, go do that. Go do it. But would she have an abortion? Never. Never. Would she kill a Muslim in her stomach? Never.
He's talking about Ilhan Omar. Would she kill a baby in her stomach? Never. A Democrat. But they'll vote for it to put a pro-choicer in office. Why? Because they're easy to brainwash and they'll destroy themselves. And this is about the fallout of the Democrat Party, which is a party of losers and psychos. If you're still a Democrat, then I don't know what you're thinking. Time to change, time to formally change it, guys. Because Democrats, here's more proof. This is an older clip. But after the Charlie Kirk assassination, this is about the Democrat polls, that they're okay with assassinations and murder as part of their party.
I want to ask you about this Rutgers report. Good morning. On the Network Contagion Research Center. This is their conclusion, okay?
I like this, Network Contagion Research Center. This is Rutgers. This is science, guys, on their network of contagion. This is a mental contagion.
Users online are increasingly associating the memification of Luigi Mangione with calls for political violence against Elon Musk, President Trump, and others, reflecting the growing cyber social presence of assassination culture. And Aisha, you have some findings that they have here on justification.
It's alarming. And I want to put this up here. This is a justification for murder of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And you'll see here, they found that when it came to the left of center, 50% thought that it was justified to murder Elon Musk, 56% for President Trump.
50% of the left think it's okay to murder. This is why they're against free speech. They don't believe in speech. They believe in killing your opponent. This is how...
Okay, and I mean, surprisingly enough, 14%, I believe that represents the right, think it's okay to kill Elon Musk, and 20% on the right think it's okay to kill Donald Trump. What the hell? The propaganda has got to stop. It's got to stop. And I'm sure you've heard, I've shared it before, that when you call somebody Hitler long enough and a Nazi long enough, there are some people out there that are going to start believing it. As Hitler said, if you tell a lie long enough, I believe it was Hitler, if you tell a lie long enough, people will start to believe it. Okay, great information. Dershowitz, I think he's a little late to the party as far as Mandani is concerned in New York, but this video does come from Doug in Exile. I've given him a thumbs up. I'm following his channel. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's get back over here and see what Vince Dow has to say on protesters' retreat in fear as federal troops arrest dozens of Portland rioters. Wait a minute, I thought there was no rioting in Portland. That's what the governor and the mayor, the governor of Oregon and the mayor of Portland said. It just all you need to do is just take a nice walk in the park. You can see there's no problems there until the sun goes down, I guess. But let's see what this is all about.
Party, right? Democrat politicians will get out and make these vague statements like, we condemn violence, but they'll never condemn these people. Why? Because whether it's the intimidation of conservatives or the civil unrest, ultimately, Democrats understand that they are useful tools to use when they are in power. But with all of that said, guys, I want to give you the updates of what we saw last night in Portland, because apparently federal troops did make a massive show of force. This is yet another night where we will notice Portland police are absolutely nowhere to be found, as well as show you what not only Trump is saying, but what the leaders in Oregon are saying. Because they still, after seeing these scenes every single night, are claiming that their city is completely safe. It's a beautiful and vibrant place, don't you know? So we'll tell you about all of that, guys. First, though, do us a favor. If you enjoy our content, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Doing so ensures that we can keep bringing you this work, and it's the best way to support. And with that said, well, let us just show you. Last night, as federal agents decided to make a show of force outside of this ICE facility as crowds already visibly dwindle. So here's a couple videos of that we'll just play for you. You'll notice the common strategy here, by the way, where they're using apparently an umbrella. So there's an arrest being made there, right? An umbrella as a shield against law enforcement. I'm not sure how effective that is. And then, as usual, they just chant shame, 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 shame,
shame.
Which it's again, nobody cares. I don't know what that's supposed to accomplish. But I'm looking over there and this is the typical scene.
And you won't be arrested for it today, not next month.
So you can see at least a handful of arrests being made there. I again reiterate, I think if you want to truly contain the situation, you need to see more. But what is it about, right? It's about basic deterrence. Even when you arrest a few people, that is more arrests than have ever been made in the history of the city of Portland towards Antifa rioters. And so that's hence why, again, some of these crowds are beginning to dwindle. You could see these protesters as they arrived, by the way. Very telling, waving Mexican flags, an upside-down American flag, a Palestine flag. Is that a flag of, what is it, Lebanon, right? Jordan, one of those countries. Is that an Egyptian flag, a Native American flag? So you'll notice, right, every single foreign flag except the United States, which is frankly appropriate. Because these people should be seen as foreign extremists. I mean, even if they're homegrown, the ideology is fundamentally anti-American. It is communist, and perhaps we ought to actually be enforcing some of the 1950s era legislation on communism in the United States against organized groups like Antifa. I mean, that seems pretty common sense. But here is yet another video of an arrest being made, and you can literally see as they start crying here as one of their comrades gets arrested. So
You ripped it out of my hands. You ripped my hands out. You ripped my
So did you hear at the end? She says, we're peaceful protesters as, I mean, I can't really tell. Did police fire the flashbang or did Antifa fire it? But yeah, I mean, as we've seen night after night, I mean, they're clearly being so peaceful. They're just assaulting people. They're starting fires. They've tried for many years now to break into federal buildings, whether it's this ICE facility or anyone remember the video back from 2020 where it was like watching medieval warfare. Like they had street signs and umbrellas and barricades and stuff. And they're like moving like Roman legions trying to storm into the federal courthouse back in 2020. Anyone remember that? I don't know. Is this just memory hold or buried, where they literally spent 2 months during election season trying to burn down a federal courthouse with DHS agents inside? And this is Trump 1, okay? So finally, you're seeing any consequences remotely whatsoever because, of course, the city of Portland just refuses to do so. Here's one more scene we'll show you of arrests being made.
Oh, got him.
My God, this is so fun.
Yeah, so according to reporting I saw from Andy No, so far 27 Antifa rioters have been arrested in the past few days, which again, I will say is an upgrade from what Portland PD was doing, which was 0. However, at the same time, I think you have to make the case again, this needs to be more, okay? You cannot, because there's several people who are just basically getting away with it. They run away in time and the feds are not able to pursue or do whatever there. And again, the deterrence is working. I think you're seeing night after night this stuff is dwindling, but so what happens when DHS leaves? Or what happens years from now? The same exact domestic extremists are going to come out in force and do it again, right? Just because these people got scared and walked away one time doesn't mean they're going to be like that forever. So that's why I again reiterate, if there does seem to be like a handful, maybe a couple dozen of troops here that are kind of able to drive back crowds, for instance, but I mean, if you need more, frankly, to shut this down entirely, then I would argue that that's the case. By the way, I would further like to point out every single one of these people is breaking the law. Why is that? Because they're protesting at night out in front of apartment complexes, which is a violation of the city's local noise ordinance. The Portland PD, again, is just simply refusing to actually enforce that. They won't respond to the noise complaint calls because of their sanctuary city policies, and they don't want to be seen as helping ICE or assisting in any way. But keep in mind, as we've covered for you before, the very residents of these apartment complexes are getting absolutely fed up and pissed off that every single night for several months now. I mean, imagine that. How much do they pay in rent, by the way? I don't know, because it's like a luxury apartment that, they probably signed the lease or purchased it before all of this stuff started happening. But of course, these residents are just saying, you guys are idiots. What is going on here? So thank you, by the way, to the DHS for coming in here and actually enforcing the laws of the city of Portland. But again, that's why I also say, you have a case to arrest every single one of these people because they're all committing disorderly conduct. They're all in violation of the noise ordinance, and they refuse to disperse, and they're here night after night. So check it out.
Goddamn morons! 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 Goddamn idiots! You are
Yeah, well, I think he definitely speaks for a lot of the residents of Portland. Although I have to say, there is something of this frustrating cycle of self-flagellation that goes on there. Because you'll have a city like Portland where a ton of people are not protesting for Antifa, but they are left of center. However, these people will constantly cheer on the lunatic hippies. They'll say, oh, BLM, all this stuff. You guys have a right to protest. Donald Trump is so bad. But then when Antifa shows up to their neighborhoods, they say, no, not in my neighborhood. No, go do that somewhere else. Right? And of course, when it comes to the very Democrat politicians who are actively aiding and abetting Antifa, and by the way, the rabbit hole there goes very deep in Oregon. Maybe we need to do our own separate video talking about just that alone. That, there's a little bit of an inconsistency there, I will say, to say the least. So, just something to think about for the people of Portland. If you're tired of these protesters, then it's time to stop for, number one, voting for the people who are enabling the protesters and allowing them to come to your neighborhoods and actively telling the police, don't show up to defend these residents. I mean, I don't understand how you would vote for a mayor like that and just keep on doing it, right? But this is, the same thing I think you even saw back in 2020. It was like people would put these signs in front of their businesses saying, please don't loot, please don't burn down. We support BLM. And what do? They burnt it and they looted it anyway. Because that's what happens when you try to appease a bunch of violent lunatics. But okay, anyways, that said, let us simply tell you now what President Trump is saying about the situation. So we got a statement this morning from Donald J. Trump saying, quote, as I determined on September 27th, when I activated and called into service the National Guard in Oregon, conditions continue to deteriorate into lawless mayhem. Our great federal law enforcement officers have not been able to enforce the laws in Oregon. Antifa and radical left anarchists have been viciously attacking our federal law enforcement officers, men and women who are simply doing their job, protecting federal property and enforcing federal immigration laws and the rule of law. We will never allow mobs to take over our streets, burn our cities, or destroy America. The National Guard, as of October 1st, is now in place. So it's unclear. I believe maybe you'll probably see more people out tonight. Again, last night you did see a show of force there, and has been dedicated to restoring law and order and ending the chaos, death, and destruction. We are a nation of law and we will prevail. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, of course, the official response of Oregon and national Democrats to all of this remains that there is absolutely nothing going on in Portland. It is completely safe. As a matter of fact, we once again still have the live feed reaction of Democrats to the newest Trump statement. So take a listen.
Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
Yeah, no, because again, that is exactly what is happening. You may remember from our video a couple days ago, if you watched that, she went out and claimed that, well, you know, we don't need federal troops in Portland because Portland is perfectly safe. And by the way, our local law enforcement, this was her justification, has the situation entirely under control. Please disperse. Nothing to see here, right? And of course, it was an objective fact that Portland PD did not have the situation under control, given the fact that they would not even respond to the situation. Like, that is the stated policy of Portland and Oregon under Sanctuary City. They wouldn't even show up to the rioting. And then she blames Trump, of course, and says it's not necessary to have federal law enforcement come in and do it because the police are handling it. No, they objectively, they weren't even showing up, right? It's like claiming that you got an A on a test and you slept in and didn't even show up. Like, you never even took the test, right? Anyways, that said, here is her newest response. This is what she wants people to know. Quote, I want people to know that Portland, Oregon is a beautiful, vibrant, and successful city. Oh, really? Is that the case?
Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
Right. That said, though, take a listen to this nonsense and we can all laugh.
Yeah, well, thank you. First of all, I want people to know that Portland, Oregon is a beautiful, vibrant, successful city. We are not a war zone. Mm-hmm. I was out there all weekend long. People were out and about, shopping, going to restaurants, going to soccer matches, going to shows. Portland is a beautiful place, and we are not under siege. There's no insurrection here.
Okay.
When the president makes a choice to say, I should have military troops in my state.
You're not under siege and there's no insurrection here. Of course, while again, there's an open coordination with Portland PD and the local government and Antifa to not respond to the Antifa rioting, which we have shown you multiple scenes on of this channel time after time. By the way, if you want to go way back in the Wayback Machine, you can even look at 2020 where the situation was even more insane than it is currently. But guys, everything, of course, is perfectly safe because according to the Oregon governor, I was there this weekend and people were shopping, right? And this is a Democrat tactic you see so often, which is they'll post like one picture or one video during the daytime, notably, by the way, from a tourist spot in downtown and say, look, there is an actively crime going on here, by the way, considering it's Portland. He's probably like leaving out the part in the back where there's just like a bunch of homeless people, you know, because that's how it goes. But check this out. Like, for instance, you have Oregon Democrat Senator Ron Wyden saying every single one of these clips was taken today in downtown Portland. Portland doesn't want or need a federal takeover. If Trump insists on sending federal resources, he can start with funding healthcare, bridges, affordable housing, and all this stuff. And then look at this.
All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. Now, you know, the thing is, what would it matter? You know, unless they're concerned about the National Guard stopping something that they want to continue, what would it matter? Go ahead, send 1,000. You know, that just brings more money into the area because those 1,000 people that are coming in are going to want to, you know, buy stuff, maybe a soft drink, maybe something to eat, whatever. Yeah, bring them in. That's good for the economy. But no, they don't want them. They don't want them in there. Why? Why is that they're trying to not allow law enforcement in their cities? I don't know. But at any rate, this video does come from Vince Dow. I'm like 17 minutes into this. There's like 5 minutes left here in this video. If you want to watch more of it, the link is in the description box below. I'm following his channel, giving him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's jump back here. And folks, I've got like 127 people watching. Bally 10 says hi from Australia. No, where is everybody? Where are they from? Who's out there? Just say hi or something. Let me know that you're breathing. But at any rate, let's go ahead and jump down here to X22 report. Shutdown might not be what you I think that's a typo here. Shutdown might not be what you think it is. National Guard being placed into position. Okay, let's see what that's all about here. Get this started and see what X22 report has to say. Now, looks like Rumble's running a little. There we go.
Let's get into the economic collapse, political.
Hello? Okay.
And geopolitical news.
There we go.
Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, big tech, fake news, the puppet masters, they went ahead and they really did it. They shut down the government. Now, again, I do believe Trump and the Patriots, they completely and utterly trapped the D's, trapped Soros and all this. Now, of course, the D's and Soros, they have a different agenda, and Trump has a countering agenda. And this is why the shutdown might not be what everyone thinks it is. I do believe that the D's are using the funding for illegals as their cover story. Now, would they like to fund the illegals? Of course they would. They're their constituents. But I do believe they have a bigger issue at hand right now because, once again, they're not bringing in new illegals into this country. The border is shut down. The wall is being built, and they don't have hundreds of thousands of people coming over the border, which is a major problem for them. So with the remaining illegals in this country, what do they need to stop? They need to stop the deportation. And as we could see, this is what they've been doing from the very beginning. They've been using the judiciary to try to stop deportation. They've been trying to use the fake news. And all these people are saying, oh, look, the Maryland man. Oh, these people are being ripped from their families. No, these are illegal people in this country, and they're being sent back to their place of origin. It's that simple. And they're not being ripped out of any place. They're just being escorted into where they came from. That is it. So the deep state players need to do what? They need to keep these people here in this country. Why? Because we have a midterm coming up.
Absolutely.
Why? Because they want riots. Why? Because they want anarchy. So how do you do that? Well, they tried with the judiciary. That completely and utterly failed.
Now, I'll tell you one thing, and you would hear a hell of a lot of bitching about this, but I would like to see National Guard at polling places. So if an illegal alien tries to vote, they would be able to stop that. At least keep them away from the polls. Now, you know, that's not going to stop mail-in ballots, especially for dead people, because, you know, there's a lot of dead people that like to vote. But at any rate, you know, National Guard at polling centers would be fabulous as far as I'm concerned.
And think about what Trump and the Patriots have been doing. They've been positioning the National Guard into all these cities, and they have dispersed ICE into all the blue cities, the sanctuary cities. To do what? To deport their constituents. You know, people that are citizens of this country who are here illegally that they brought in, which they should all be arrested because they aided and abetted. But that's a whole nother story. So how else do you stop the deportation? Well, I do believe what they're trying to do right now is they're shutting down the government using the Medicaid and the health insurance part of it to illegals as their talking point. But in the background, what I think they're doing is they're trying to drag this out as long as possible to basically stop the National Guard, stop ICE, stop the military from getting paid. And they're hoping that those individuals who are out there in Portland now, because now the National Guard is placed into position out there.
Yeah.
The National Guard is in Memphis. The National Guard is in D.C. The National Guard is in Chicago. The National Guard is in L.A. They're hoping that since these people aren't getting paid, they'll say, well, I'm not doing this. I mean, if you're not going to pay me, I'm not standing guard. I'm not going to be guarding the federal buildings. I'm not going to guard ICE. And they're hoping.
Okay, well, it's totally ridiculous anyway. Nobody in the military, National Guard, or whatever gets paid by the day. Okay, we've been shut down for 2 days? All right. So, no, they haven't been paid, but they probably, aren't due for pay. They might be due pay like on October 31st, the last day of the month. I don't know how the pay periods work in the military or National Guard, but no, they will get paid as soon as the Democrats get off their ass and figure out that this is a losing proposition for them. They will get paid. It may be a week or two late, but they will get paid.
That ICE does the same exact thing. Since I'm not getting paid, I really don't want to do this right now.
Right.
Because how am I going to support my family? I think this is the tactic that they're going to try to use. But again, you have to remember, these people in the National Guard, the people in ICE, the people in the military, they understand that they will get all of their pay when the shutdown is over.
Absolutely.
Because it goes back to the beginning and they get paid from that point in time moving forward. So they will get paid in the end. But they're hoping that these people, they become angry, pissed off, and they quit. Now, is this going to work? Well,
I don't know.
The deep state players, the Ds, they would have to keep the government shut down for at least 21 days. Now, last time they shut down the government during Trump's time in the White House, they shut it down for 35 days. That's the longest stretch we've ever had in the history of the country. So back then, they shut it down for 35 days. Is that possible they could shut it down for 21 days? But they would only, miss like one check or so. So they would have to shut it down beyond 21 days. And I do believe this is what they're going to try to achieve. It doesn't mean they're going to achieve this, but I think this is something that they're going to try to do. Now, on the other side, we have Trump and his team. At this point in time, Trump then, since the government is shut down, he can do what? He can drain the swamp.
Yes.
Now, 61 days is the magic number. This is where he can permanently fire everyone. Can he start getting rid of people right now? Yeah, I think Russ Vought is already ready to do it. And we could start removing these individuals. And we can remove, 750,000, 800,000 people in government, which is quite a bit. And this is one fantastic way to drain the swamp. Plus, Trump can shut down all the programs that the Ds have created, like the Green New Scam. Right now, Russ Vought said, listen, $8 billion. I'll just shut it all down. No more Green New Scam in multiple states. So Trump and the Patriots, they're using their leverage against the Ds and shutting down their entire criminal syndicate and draining the swamp while the Ds are pushing this narrative that they want to give healthcare to illegals. Do you think this is going to help them in the end win the election during the midterms? No, it isn't. Actually, this is going to destroy them every step of the way. Is it going to help Trump? Absolutely. So I do believe we have two things happening. Plus, if you add in the Federal Reserve to all this, the Federal Reserve now, and this is part of the agenda also, they also now are saying, listen, we don't have to cut the rates because we don't have the financial data. So we really can't make a ruling. So if you're expecting a rate cut coming anytime soon, it's not going to happen. And really think about it. They try to get rid of Lisa Cook, went up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court delayed the ruling until January 2026. So from now until then, I do believe they're going to be trying to push this entire agenda. And they're hoping that they can destroy the economy in some way. which there might be an event or something else happening, or just by keeping the rates steady, they're hoping that, or maybe making the excuse that they have to raise the rates. I don't know how they're going to do that. We know that the EU right now is saying that they're seeing inflation, but again, they're going to try to hold the rates steady as long as possible. So you could see we have the D's trying to push their agenda. We have Trump, who has the leverage, which is where he's basically draining the swamp, removing all their criminal syndicate programs. And in the end, when the government is out of the shutdown, what are the D's going to have to show for this? Well, they kept the entire government shut down because they want to give health insurance to illegals. And now all their people that they had in all these different agencies, they're gone. The programs that they were running, that's gone. What did they end up with? Nothing. And everyone's watching this going, okay, we're on day 30 now, and you're still pushing this? I don't know if I'm going to vote for you in the midterms. This is ridiculous. What's going on here? You want it, and people are going to start to wake up because they're going to say, okay, so you're fighting over giving illegals health insurance. That's your stand? That's it? They're not citizens of this country. That means anybody that comes in this country that's not a citizen can get health insurance. It's not going to work. But you could see what their agenda is. And Trump, he is now prepping and preparing for the riots across this country, the insurrection. And I do believe this is why he had the meeting with the generals and the admirals, the military, because he's giving them a chance. Those people that are corrupt, those people that are part of the deep state players, you might as well leave right now. If you want to stay, you're going to F around and find out. Plus, someone else put out a very interesting post about gathering all the admirals and generals in one area. Maybe this has to do with what was set up in New York outside of the UN, where they could disrupt emergency calls, and maybe they're trying to figure out who might be involved in all this. We'll be talking about that in just a bit. But first, let's talk about the illegal alien who basically faked his way into becoming the superintendent in Des Moines, Iowa public school system. And he basically lied about everything. He's an illegal alien, lied that he was a citizen. He lied about having a doctoral degree. And I wonder if they did any type of background check or anything like that.
Really?
Or did they just look at his skin color and say, listen, we need a black person to be superintendent because we need to show that we're diverse. I mean, really think about this for a second. And now it's completely and utterly falling apart around them. Just like it's all completely and utterly falling apart in regards to what is happening in Minneapolis. So, information from U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, they have conducted an operation from September 19th through September 28th in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And basically, they have reported immigration fraud. So the effort focused on site visits and targeted verifications for applicants and petitioners with pending immigration benefits who match specific risk criteria. The operation aligns with Executive Order 14161, protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. The types of applications for immigration benefits investigated included marriage and family-based petitions, employment authorizations, and certain parole-related requests. Operation Twin Shield uncovered many lies. For example, one alien admitted to fabricating a death certificate from Kenya for $100 to falsely claim the termination of marriage. The spouse in question is alive, residing in Minneapolis, and is the mother of 5 of his children. In another case, an alien is the son of a known or suspected terrorist. He has also overstayed his visa and was previously found to have engaged in marriage fraud that resulted in the denial of several immigration benefit requests. In another case, a petitioner admitted to officers with Operation Twist Shield that she committed marriage fraud. This was only a few hours after swearing that her marriage was bona fide during an interview at our Minneapolis office. In another case, an alien engaged in marriage fraud by taking advantage of an elderly U.S. citizen spouse, including subjecting the spouse to elder abuse and exploitation. This is a small sample of the immigration fraud USCIS officers across the nation combat every single day. And you could see that this is happening everywhere. And this is all part of the criminal syndicate system to keep these illegals in this country. absolutely amazing. And you could see the judiciary, they're doing whatever they possibly can to try to stop Trump every step of the way. And if you really look at this, the judiciary has not stopped. They're going to keep doing this, but they're losing the battle every single day. Remember, all they can do is delay what they're doing right now. They can't stop it because they know once it goes to appeals, once it goes to the Supreme Court, they're going to lose. But they're going to keep doing it because they're being instructed to do this to stop Trump at all costs.
Yep.
So U.S. District Judge William Young has ruled that the Trump administration efforts to deport non-citizens for protesting the war in Gaza is completely and utterly unconstitutional. So illegals in this country, they're allowed to protest the war in Gaza? That's interesting. Julie Kelly put this out and said, it would be easy to fume over the 161-page temper tantrum issued by 85-year-old Judge William Young, today related to a lawsuit against the Trump administration for attempting to deport pro-Palestinian non-citizens, but one really has to pity the man. Instead of spending his last days with his children and grandchildren, maybe great-grandchildren, Young, like other ancient judges such as Royce Lamberth, refuses to relinquish his judicial throne so he can instead rant about Trump. Young recently has been unbraided by SCOTUS for defying at least one decision, but he remains undeterred, issuing his finding that President Trump is not just violating the First Amendment rights of non-citizens, but is acting as a lawless executive endangering democracy. This is nothing more than another headline-producing stunt by a lifetime appointee, confirmed in 1985, who knows he can act this way without consequences. Just a few snippets, and she highlighted it. Let's be honest, in our secret heart of hearts, many of us are tiny Trump wannabes. After all, who does not feel the urge to stride about, sticking it to the man, wrecking institutions and careers simply because we find them irksome? Most of us, however, ascribe to Shakespeare's famous adage, "Oh, it is excellent to have a giant strength, but it is tyrannous to use it like a giant." Then she says, I mean, what does this mean? He says, I fear President Trump believes the American people are so divided that today they will not stand up, fight for, and defend our most precious constitutional values, so long as they are lulled into thinking their own personal interests are not affected. Keep in mind, this is the same judge who upheld Mass Governor Charles Baker's mask mandate during COVID. Dear Judge Young, she says, please retire and go spend time with your family. This cannot be good for your health. And
okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. All right, let me click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from X22 Report. I am following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let me jump back here. And folks, these videos that I share with you, I've got a lot of good chats tonight. Let me go ahead while I'm here and copy these chats into a comment, because when this live stream is over, that live chat will just kind of vaporize into cyberspace or whatever. And if I put this in a comment, this information, which I feel is a very important part of the video, will be permanent. Thank you, Lily Mae, for joining us. Here we go. There we are. Okay, and again, folks, these videos that I share with you come directly from the producers. I've got the links to the videos that I've shared with you and the links to the producer's channel. In other words, right down here from Vince Dow, this video that I shared with him. Vince Dow is the producer of this video. The link to his channel is, if you click on that, guess where it's going to, oh my goodness, it takes you right over to Vince Dow's channel. So I don't get any commissions or royalties for sharing this information out, but I do get the satisfaction of sharing the truth with you, because it's hard to find today if you're watching the mainstream media. But I gather this information up and put it in a nice little package and share it out with you. Okay, let me go ahead and share some more information here with Westwood One Sports on the NFL. And this is just a short little ditty here.
Hey football fanatics, are you ready for some primetime NFL action? Tune in to Westwood One for all the gridiron glory you crave.
From jaw-dropping touchdowns to game-changing plays,
Don't miss a moment of the excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, and every victory on Westwood One.
You can listen to the NFL on the NFL app, on the Westwood One Sports app, on WestwoodOneSports.com via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports.
If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One.
All right, here we are back at Murtech.com, and the link to Murtech.com is in the description box below. So if you want to come over here to Murtech.com, these videos that I shared with you tonight are videos that I've posted on Murtech.com, where I have over 55 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos. Right here's the video here from ACLJ that I shared with you. Right down here is the video from Vince Dow that I shared with you. Right here's the video from X22 report, and I've got, as I said, over 55. Let me jump back here and do a quick refresh on this screen here. This is the video you're watching right now. Okay, as I said, over the live chat, I've got 153 people watching right now, and I've got 5 thumbs up. So, you know, if I could get 148 of you to slide down here and give me a thumbs up, I'd greatly appreciate it. And here again, while the video's still going, if you want to jump in the live chat and just give me your name, tell me where you're from, tell me if there's some other information you'd like to see. I know Benny Johnson came up in the chat. And I will be having my daily news wrap-up coming up here about 9:30, about a half an hour, a little less than that, about a half an hour. So go ahead and take a break, grab a cup of coffee, a donut, grab a sandwich and a soft drink or a beer, and come back and we'll get that going. But this information that I share with you here, folks, is I try not to do a lot of interrupting. You know, these people that I share with you are people that have had a lot of experience getting this information together. They've got teams of people working with them to get this information. I'm just a dad here trying to get the truth out. I started this back after 2020. You know, after that election debacle in 2020, I was thinking, geez, what's the point of even voting if they're going to just steal it? But then I thought, well, that's exactly what they want. They want people to give up and throw their hands up. So I was thinking, what can I do to help get the information out to try to discredit their lies that they tell constantly? You know, like, oh, we want health care for everyone, including the illegal aliens. No, they don't say that last part, but that's the truth. So that we can skim off the top and we can buy their votes. Yeah, they don't say that part either. But that's what's going on. So I started this, been on it for almost 5 years now, and I want to continue to share this information. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later. My daily news wrap-up. Thanks again, and may God bless.